Subscribe to the channel and comment down below saying I subscribed to enter this month's shoutout giveaway. Number 5. Julius Erving vs. Larry Bird. In the early 1980s, the Boston Celtics and Philadelphia 76ers ran the Eastern Conference. One of them represented the East in every NBA Finals between 1980 and 1987, often after outing the other. The rivalry was approaching its last leg in 1984, but it still had enough juice to spark a dramatic confrontation between two of the league's marquee talents, Julius Erving and Larry Bird, during the November 9, 1984 matchup. Erving explained what transpired during a May 2018 interview on ESPN's Get Up. So the fight, actually, there was an offensive foul called on Larry. He didn't like the call, so he was really mad at the referee, and then he came down on the court and was kind of like stomping. He was in front of his bench, and it looked for a moment in which he was going to take a swing. It was very uncharacteristic because, you know, we did Converse commercials together, we did Spalding commercials together, so we were kind of cool. But I thought something was going to happen because he was definitely mad, but he was mad at the referee, he wasn't mad at me. I just extended my arm to hold him back, and it ended up sliding up to his neck. Then it was on, so it was really inadvertent. I didn't really mean to grab him by the neck, I pushed him in the chest. Hand slid up, got to his neck, he reaches for my neck, next thing I know it's a melee. Bird and Erving threw punches. Moses Malone scuffled with ML Carr. The benches emptied, and at one point there was a pile of players on the floor. Referee Dick Bavetta, who was forced into solo duty after his partner, Jack Madden, left with a knee injury, did what he could to restore order. In all, 18 people were fined for the fight, 17 players, and 76ers coach Billy Cunningham. Erving and Bird were the hardest hit with $7,500 fees, the second largest in NBA history at the time.
There's a special knack in entering that ball to somebody that is down in a post area. Larry was posting up and wasn't a good entry by McHale. Bird underneath from Wedman.
Number 4. Phoenix Suns versus the New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks, the best in the East, in Phoenix to go against the Suns, the best in the West. You don't need to build this one up.
It started as a measuring stick matchup between the run-and-gun Phoenix Suns and the slow, physical, defense-first New York Knicks. It ended a runaway 121-92 win for the Suns. But in between, the night of March 23, 1993 involved a bench-clearing brawl that had resulted in 6 ejections, 12 technical fouls, and ultimately league rule changes that increased the penalties for fighting and leaving the bench during a fight. An escalating battle between Knicks point guard Doc Rivers and Suns point guard Kevin Johnson bubbled over about halftime. The two exchanged words after Johnson deflected an inbound pass. On the ensuing pass, Rivers bumped Johnson, who embellished the contact and drew a whistle. Rivers got into the official's face first, but then he went chest to chest with Johnson. The benches cleared, and things calmed down before anything got out of hand, or so it seemed. On the next possession, Rivers drew a charge on Johnson and let him hear about it. When the Knicks got it back, Rivers went to screen Johnson, and the Suns point guard lowered his shoulder and planted it into Rivers' chest. Rivers got back to his feet and raced over to Johnson as the halftime buzzer sounded, with players and coaches from both clubs crowding around them. Greg Anthony, sidelined with an ankle injury and in street clothes, came over from the bench, exchanged words with Johnson, and then punched him in the face. The two went to the floor with a dog pile on top of them. Knicks head coach Pat Riley emerged with his pants ripped. "I've never seen anything like that in all my 27 years in the league," Suns president Jerry Colangelo told reporters. It looked like it was going out of control. It got a little scary there for a minute. Number 3. Denver Nuggets versus New York Knicks. Functionally, December 16, 2006 might have witnessed the NBA's brawl to end all brawls, but it may not have been the most infamous fight, and it's definitely not the most brutal of all time, but it had ugly moments, and the league's punitive measures against the participants effectively removed fisticuffs from the sport. It all started with a hard foul in the final seconds of a blowout home loss for the New York Knicks. They were incensed that the Denver Nuggets had their starters on the floor. Knicks head coach Isaiah Thomas told Carmelo Anthony that he and Marcus Camby shouldn't have been in the game and not to go in the paint. Thomas later said that the message was, "It wouldn't be a good idea for you to rub it in and go to the basket and dunk it on our guys." Thomas subdued and Marty Collins, who flagrantly fouled J.R. Smith shortly thereafter. Smith was en route to an easy transition score when Collins grabbed him by the neck and took him to the floor. Smith got up and immediately started jawing at Collins. Nate Robinson got in Smith's face. Anthony shoved Robinson, who got tangled up with Smith, and the two spilled into the stands while tussling. As things seemed to be settling, Anthony floored Collins with a punch. Jared Jeffries chased Anthony to near half court before he was tackled by a Denver player. Smith was on the opposite end of the court from where the fight had started before security finally contained him. It was mayhem, the kind of mayhem the NBA felt it could not afford roughly 2 years removed from Malice at the Palace. So, NBA Commissioner David Stern came down with the sledgehammer and suspended 7 players for a total of 47 games, including Anthony, then the league's leading scorer, for 15 games. Number 2. Malice at the Palace. A November 19, 2004 game between the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons was less than a minute from its completion when a hard foul became a shoving match. That shoving match then became the most infamous brawl in basketball's history. Pistons big man Ben Wallace attempted a layup when Ron Artest, now known as Meta Sandiford Artest, fouled him hard. Wallace shoved Artest, both teams confronted each other mid-court, and the benches emptied. Artest laid on the scorer's table, and then a fan threw a beer from the stands and hit him. The Pacers swingman raced into the stands, sparking a scary, ugly fight between players and fans that stretched from the seats onto the court and spanned the longest 2 minutes in NBA history. It felt like we were trapped in a gladiator-type scene where the fans were lions, and we were just trying to escape with our lives. Pacers special assistant to the CEO, Chuck Person, told Jonathan Abrams for Grantland in 2012. That's how it felt, that there was no exit, that you had to fight your way out. There were legal repercussions for players and fans. The league levied suspensions that totaled 146 games and $10 million in forfeited paychecks. The NBA also revived arena policies regarding security and alcohol sales. It was the worst kind of chaos imaginable, but at least it had never been repeated.
You've got to let it go. That's not that hard of a foul. It's not a normal foul, but not that hard.
Number 1. The punch. With one punch, the sports world was changed forever. The night of December 9th, 1977 brought about an otherwise anonymous contest between the Houston Rockets and Los Angeles Lakers, but it took an ugly, violent turn in the opening minute of the second half. LA's Kermit Washington and Houston's Kevin Cunnert jostled while trailing a Rockets fast break. The two suddenly traded punches, and Washington's teammate, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, intervened by grabbing Cunnert. Seeing this from afar, Rockets captain Rudy Tomjanovich raced towards the action. Washington saw Tomjanovich in his peripheral vision, stopped, turned, planted, and punched him square in the face. The blow was nearly fatal. Tomjanovich was hurried into an emergency room where he was told he might not survive. Chris Cobbs wrote for Los Angeles Times in 1985. The total damage done included a fractured skull, broken jaw, broken nose, other facial injuries, and leakage of spinal fluid. Washington was suspended for 60 days without pay and fined $10,000. Tomjanovich didn't suit up again that season, though he returned for the 1978-1979 season to make the 5th All-Star appearance of his career. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.